Okay, gang, we're back. On our last video, I mentioned in the video, we'll probably get around to gluing, but there was some cleanup that I had to do on the inside of the back. So I just cleaned up the inside, sanded it. There's some high glue residue against the braces. So what I did was I sanded, I have 320. I also got, I use a number of tools. Razor blade, chisel to chisel out, and it gets really easy when you're using high glue because it dries super hard. High glue flakes off. There was a little bit more trimming I needed to do on the cross brace across the back. This one right here, right up the front. So basically, and I'll come over here. There was a lot of, and I'll say a lot, you know, because I try to keep it as tight as possible. There was a lot of fitting back and forth, but it's fitting inside the grooves nicely. I have it this way. You can take it off, check the inside. That's the nice thing about using an outside form like this. You can check the fit on the inside to see, I'm kind of having a hard time here, to see how it's fitting, making sure everything's fitting nicely. It's hard to see from here because of the spreaders, but make sure that the braces are tucked neatly underneath the reliefs that you cut inside the linings. And right now you can see this is the face out of line. I have not sanded it yet, and I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it. Once I glue the back on, we'll get to this. We'll get to this side before we glue the top on. But basically, this is what it looks like on the inside right now. All the spreaders are there. We're going to get ready to glue the back on. I'm going to try something different today. Normally, I glue this onto the work board right here. I'm just going to try to glue it just exactly like this. I use these clamps right here. I made them. There's super easy and super cost effective if you're using a whole piece. I had some leftover scrap mahogany, and honestly, all these bevels, this is where I really honed my planing skills, because I actually milled it with a plane, the whole big piece, but we won't get into that. Anyway, these are super cool. They're super fast. You can kind of see what I'm doing with this. I built a rim out of, all it is plywood. This is just a joint because I cut a hole in it to inside cut it with a bandsaw, and it's flexible. Let's see. Yeah. Well, you can't see that. It does bend. So what it does is it'll bend around the radius. What I'm going to do, and you're going to see how we glue it, I'm going to make sure the heel block and tail block are secured nice and tight, and then we're just going to come and clamp it around. But all right, 3 minutes in, a little bit more. Let's get to it. guess I'm gonna sneak through these braces over here. That's pretty much it, gluing the back. You saw me use high glue. I didn't pay too much attention to this video, but you can tell I made sure that the back seam was lined up with the joints on the tail block and also the heel block. When we put the spreaders in, I made sure it lined up and everything was square, so everything is nice and square. So once everything comes out, the lines will all match up, even though we're gonna cut them all off, except the back seam. You're not gonna see the match against the heel block because the neck's gonna be covering it. You're not gonna see the match against the tail block because we're gonna put an end graft and we're gonna bind it. So all of that is gonna get covered, but and for my sons, if you're gonna build an instrument that is not bound or doesn't have an end graft, you gotta make sure the seams are all lined up and all the lines are straight. You guys got any questions, comments? By all means, pop it on the bottom, subscribe if you, please subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.